Welcome to episode number 36 of Hoop Talk Fanatics. I am here with Kentucky basketball writer Aaron Gershon, and I'm excited to hear what his thoughts are on how the season is progressing for the Wildcats. And you're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
So my first question was, what are your thoughts on the London Showcase this past Sunday?
Yeah, it was very important for Kentucky to get that victory out in London. They had struggled in their first two games against some better opponents. I mean, they'd beat up on kind of the teams they were supposed to beat up on, and lost that game to Michigan State in the Champions Classic, lose to Gonzaga out west. So it was very important for them to pick up that win. They shot much better from deep. I think they went 9 for 15 from three. Really big day for Case and Wallace, going 4 for 4 from back there and just doing a little bit of everything. He's I think going to be a top 5 draft pick, if not top 10. Really talented player. So yeah, very important win. There are definitely still some things that you want to see improve. I mean, they only shot 50% from the free throw line. They had some offensive miscues. They had some defensive breakdowns, but overall a much better performance and a big win to help that tournament resume a little bit. And I mean, they should be able to get in just fine, but as far as seeding goes, you got to win the games like that.
What are your thoughts on Oscar Tshiebwe, Carson Wallace, and Antonio Reeves?
Yeah, starting with Case in there. I like I said, I think he's a very special player. I think he obviously was a 5-star recruit for a reason, and so far he's justified that. I mean, on the defensive end, he had 8 steals against Michigan State. He's just a menace on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, when he puts the shots up, they usually go in. He's shooting 53% from the field. Like I said, he went 4 for 4 from 3 in that game out in London, and really it's just a matter of getting him to take more shots. I mean, he's got to kind of build that confidence up still at the college level, but he's also a really good distributor. He's at 4.5 assists per game, 4 rebounds. So excuse me, he can do a little bit of everything. And then Oscar, I mean, Oscar's just Oscar. I mean, he won the National Player of the Year award last year for a reason. He hasn't really slowed down much this year. Missed the first couple of games injured, but he really hasn't missed a beat since coming back. I mean, he's already got 4 double-doubles. He's averaging 14 and 13 points and rebounds respectively. So obviously Oscar is a great player. And then I think Antonio Reeves, the last guy I asked about, he's new to the program, transferred from Illinois State, and he's been the most consistent 3-point shooter so far for them. He's shooting, let's see what he's shooting from 3. I believe it's at 49% on the year. So that's obviously really, really good. He's averaging 14 points a game. He's been their leading scorer more times than not so far. So he's kind of just they started him off the bench this year, and they've moved him into the starting lineup. And they haven't lost since they made that switch with him and CJ Frederick. He's just been the most consistent 3-point shooter they have, and he's kind of just their sniper.
So my next question is, what are your thoughts on the CBS Sports Classic against UCLA?
Yeah, that's another game that's going to be really important for Kentucky, not this Saturday, but next Saturday out in New York. I think UCLA has obviously done a great job under Mick Cronin. Ever since he's been there, they've had nothing but success. So that's going to be a really good challenge. Obviously, UCLA is a really experienced team with the 2 guys they have who went to the Final Four and then last year made a deep tournament run. So it's going to be a tough matchup. Kentucky has some experience too. It's going to be on a neutral site, and usually, Kentucky fans pack the Garden whenever they play out there, and UCLA has a longer trip to make. So we'll see what the fandom and that support is like, but I'm really excited for that matchup in a few weeks. I think it'll be a really good game. And again, it's another important one for Kentucky after those losses to Michigan State and Gonzaga. You got to get these big non-conference wins to build that tournament resume. Again, Kentucky will make the NCAA tournament unless something goes horribly wrong, but they need to build the resume for seeding purposes, and that'll be a really important game to get.
What are your thoughts on the conference as a whole?
Yeah, the SEC is very it's gotten a lot better over the years. Obviously it's definitely a football conference. We all know that, but the basketball has been a lot better lately. We saw it last year. And this year I think, the biggest thing in the SEC is you have a lot of new coaches at Missouri, Mississippi State, LSU, Florida, they're all in South Carolina, they're all first year head coaches. So you're seeing some turnover there and you're seeing some rebuilding going on, but Missouri's 9-0. I know they haven't really played anybody yet, and Mississippi State's 8-0. So, we'll see what they're able to do in conference play when their schedules start heating up. But obviously, those first-year head coaches, Dennis Gates and Chris Jans, are off to a really good start. And then, Alabama's going to be there. I think they're ranked number 8 so far. They're 7-1. Arkansas has a great roster. I would argue they're the best team in the conference. Maybe, I mean, Kentucky, we'll see, but I would argue right now, Arkansas is the best roster in the conference. Tennessee is a top 10 team, and then Auburn is a top 11 team. So you've got a lot of teams at the top there. Kentucky included in that, but the bottom is just not that great. So it's a very top heavy conference. So those games against Arkansas, against Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee are going to be huge for Kentucky, and we'll see how they play when they get there at the end of the month with Missouri.
My next question is: do you think Kentucky is a deep team to compete in the tournament come March?
I do. I mean, last year obviously didn't go as planned, losing in the tournament opener, which obviously was really embarrassing from them, and it was a huge letdown. But I think that this year, obviously they're a pretty similar team. They haven't changed all that much, but I think the addition of Antonio Reeves having 2 capable 3-point shooters will be big. Last year was kind of Kellen Grady or bust from 3, and Kellen Grady got hurt at the end of the year, and it kind of just things went downhill. So I think they have some better shooting this year that should help them come tournament time. We don't all know how important that is. And then obviously Oscar Sheba is not going anywhere. He's if he's healthy, he's a top 5 player in the country. And they have Cason Wallace, I think, is an elite guard. So I think they're better suited than they were a year ago, but again, they struggled in their first 2 games against really good teams. They played better against Michigan, but so we'll have to see how they, stack up against UCLA, against Kansas later in the year, and then in conference play.
So my next question is, which is my last question. Kentucky has 2 big games to start off the new year against LSU and Bama. What are your thoughts on those 2 games?
Yeah, LSU, I believe that game is at home. So that's usually good for Kentucky. Kentucky went undefeated at home last year, beat LSU at home last year, and LSU is just crazy with how many different guys they have. They're kind of like I think they have 3 kids from Murray State from Matt McMahon's team there. So they're loaded with transfers. They had the 10 guys enter the portal. So we'll see exactly what LSU is looking like when we get to conference play. But I'd right now, not knowing all that much about LSU, I'd feel pretty good about that game at home. Then Alabama's going to be tough. Kentucky and Alabama last year. Kentucky swept Bama. The year before that, Bama swept Kentucky. So, they've gone back and forth at each other. Alabama loves shooting threes. So we'll see at that point in the season how Kentucky's perimeter defense is. That game will be down in Tuscaloosa. So we'll see how that factors into things. But last year, like I said, Kentucky was able to go in there and beat them. So a lot will be all. I'd have a better prediction for you after the UCLA game and see how they fare against them. But yeah, those are 2 obviously tone setting games, really important to win, especially Bama. You gotta, like I said, get some quality wins, stack that resume, because the SEC is very top heavy, and the only teams in the SEC that Kentucky plays twice are that really can move the needle as far as seeding go are Arkansas and Tennessee. They only play Alabama once, they only play Auburn once, they only play LSU once. So those are going to be, like I said, really, really important games to win.
Definitely looking forward to seeing your coverage throughout the rest of the season and the years to come. And thank you so much for coming on, and I hope to have you back on soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.